if it's true that reducing carbon levels would do more harm than good to our environment. If so, how does he suggest us as Christians address this issue with climate change activists?
Well, the fact of the matter is that these environmental terrorists, and that's the way I'm going to label them, are evolutionists. They do not believe in a God who's in control of things. And they are trying to reduce carbon emissions because they say carbon dioxide is a gas which warms the earth. And that's true, it does, but it's a minor player. The fact of the matter is that water vapor in the atmosphere warms the earth far more than carbon dioxide. You know, when you take a look at the percentage of carbon dioxide, it's really minimal. Right now, it's at about 400 parts per million. And I love doing mission work in the UK because you have this wonderful expression, let's do the maths. And if you think about it, carbon dioxide does have a slight warming effect. However, it is pretty marginal. Water vapor has a bigger effect. And of course, there are some other chemicals that have a warming effect. But the truth of the matter is that by trying to reduce carbon dioxide, these environmental terrorists are doing great damage. Just ask yourself a question. What do plants use to make food? Well, it's carbon dioxide. What do trees use to make lumber? Well, it's carbon dioxide. And so by reducing carbon levels, in effect, they will ultimately starve millions and millions of people to death. The fact of the matter is that the earth is always better off when it is warming because crops become arable further north and further south on the hemispheres. For example, there in England, if you know anything about Hadrian's Wall, you'll know that the Romans were growing grapes for wine at Hadrian's Wall at the time that it was built. Roughly, we'll say, and I don't remember the exact date, but somewhere in the areas of around 130. But it was much warmer in England at that time. It was the Roman warm period. Now, the Roman warm period was a very nice time on Earth, and it had a great prosperity. Remember also the medieval warm period when the Vikings were able to colonize Greenland. So actually, while I personally don't like global warming, I like it cool personally. But the fact of the matter is that when the Earth warms, we have prosperity, we have less disease, we have less, pandemics. I'll throw that in. But it's a prosperous time on Earth when the Earth warms. But when the Earth cools, we have disastrous conditions. For instance, after the Roman warm period, which was a very good time on Earth, we had the two dark ages that followed later. Now, the two dark ages were called dark ages not because people lost knowledge. Actually, it was a great time of technological development. The reason the dark ages were called the dark ages is because it was dark and it was cold. And it was a bad time to live on Earth in the sense of the environment. So people are far better off. The Earth is far better off when it is warming. And in terms of the sequestering of carbon dioxide, for instance, like the laws in Norway, we would be much better off if we released that carbon dioxide into the environment because the crops and the trees would simply absorb the carbon dioxide and produce beneficial products. After all, if you think about it, we produce carbon dioxide. So what is one of the things that these environmental terrorists want? They want to have zero population growth. Why? To reduce carbon dioxide.